Hello, my name is Derek Kenny, and this is our first podcast, Secrets to Success, City of Gold. We had ran Secrets to Success in the Pearl of the Orient in Hong Kong, and since my introduction to Dubai and the extremely positive experience I've had here, I thought, why not set it up in Dubai, the City of Gold? One of the only cities in the world you can transfer through as much gold as you like. We're interviewing Dave Chaggar here, who has completely went out of his way to help me without me asking him. He's introduced me to so many people, and he's just done it without expecting anything in return, you know. So, number one, I'd like to say that I do love the Capital Club, and I do have great love for Dubai as a city in the UAE in the Middle East, and I've seen it transform. But we want Dave to give us some insights and information and tell us a bit about his life story and his journey and how he started out, you know. So Dave, I'm just the podcast host, okay? I'm the nobody. You are the star of the show, all right? So, and by the way, everybody, Dave got a lovely Irish suit made just for me. So Dave, I think we will kick off starting with, you know, go back further from Dubai, right? Because obviously you have a very strong education and but you're a very humble, personable type of guy. So create a bit of a story for everybody. How you started out, how your childhood kind of molded who you are today, and then we will kind of move towards Dubai.
Firstly, thank you very much, Derek. It's a pleasure to have you as a member of the club. And I can also say it's been quite a journey, learning from you, learning from your business experiences as well. Every day is just full of energy. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. So I was born in the UK, East African Indian origins, and in Leicestershire. Studied there, went to school there, and then went to St Andrews University. So economics by trade, and I think everything really started from the entrepreneurial nature of my family.
I wanted this story today to really give a great insight into Dubai, because I feel it's such a great city. Like, I just absolutely love this place, you know, and there's not many cities in the world I go to, and I just really love it. There's two cities. I love Hong Kong with all my heart, and I have to say I really love Dubai, you know. And I want people to understand around the world or in different countries, and people who view our podcast in Hong Kong and so on and so forth, to understand, you know, the essence of Dubai and what makes Dubai such a great place. Tell me a bit about, how did you end up here?
I was in the UK for a considerable amount of time, in between then Australia, and then moved back to the UK. Then on my father-in-law's side, he then acquired a power plant in Tanzania. So he wanted me to get actively involved in the business, and this meant that I was initially traveling from the UK to Dubai and then across to Tanzania every month. So that was my initial exposure to Dubai, where every month I was coming through the city. And then I started to feel more and more comfortable and impressed by the speed at which things actually happen here. So that was probably about 10, 11 years ago that I started to first come through Dubai. And every time I was spending 5-6 days in Tanzania and then a couple of days either side here in Dubai. But already at that point, we were transacting a lot through Dubai in terms of import-export. So it involved setting up structures here. And then I just found that there was so much opportunity here. You know, it's very much an active business environment. And the more you kind of align yourself correctly, you can find the right people. Generally speaking, it's very straightforward. And I just thought it made logical sense to then move the family to Dubai.
I feel Dubai changed dramatically over the past 5 years, say. I was here during COVID, right? And then came here post-COVID, and it's a different city again. The government here just seems to just constantly look at ways of improving. Instead of doing things to piss people off, sorry for my language, they seem to actually want to do things to make people have a better life, you know?
100%. I think, you know, it's very different to any other city that I've lived in the past. So compared to London, Brisbane, I think Dubai is just constantly evolving, like you say. It's just so flexible, and it adapts very, very quickly. And like you say, when there's times of pain, such as during COVID, the way Dubai handled the whole situation is just remarkable. Many of the other countries around the world were in lockdown for 6 months or even longer in some cases, whereas Dubai, I think it was a testament to the way they handled it that's really put them in great stead. So now we're just finding so many people from different parts of the world who are all making Dubai home because of the flexibility, because they can see opportunity here. Whereas a lot of the other places around the world, they're facing still a lot of struggles moving forward.
Yeah, like personally, I've been so impressed with the government, basically, right? Because let's face it, 99% of governments get it wrong, and it just it astounds me with the government here, with the policies they keep putting in place to make it better for people to live. And we're looking at property here at the moment, you know what I mean? And somebody said to me, they said, Derek, that property is like middle of nowhere. I said, in 10 years' time, see all that sand, that'll be all full. I said, because they're doubling or trebling the size of the airport. I said, if you look at the roads, they're obviously building them for 50 years from now. They ain't thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They're thinking completely long term, you know what I mean?
Not completely. I think so many people now, after COVID, they reflect on the situation in a very different manner. It's about quality of life. And when they're perhaps residing in Europe or Singapore or Hong Kong, when you're paying taxes to the government, then it becomes a case of, am I really getting the value back? Whereas I find Dubai is completely different. The way it's structured is it's all kind of thinking for the better of the whole community, which is not just the local Emirati community, but also expats as a whole. So I find it's just a very welcoming environment, and people see it as a breath of fresh air. They can see that there's a lot of opportunity happening in the Middle East, and Dubai is a great place in terms of bringing up families, lifestyle, and then also in terms of the business environment.
Well, one thing that strikes me about Dubai is I don't see racism here. I just don't see it, And I've seen I've actually seen a lot of signs when I've been driving down the road of like, we welcome everybody to Dubai. Everybody's part of the Dubai family. It doesn't matter what religion you are, what color you are. Everybody's part of the Dubai family, right? And it's very interesting for me because, I get in the Careem, which is the equivalent to Uber here, and I speak to the drivers all of the time, And no matter which country you go in the world, you can always rely on taxi drivers to tell you the truth about everything, right? I'm always talking away to them. And I've yet to meet a driver in Dubai who doesn't say positive things about Dubai.
100%. I think, generally speaking, most of the expats who move here, I feel that they're very grateful in terms of the environment. I think we are very, very lucky, fortunate to be based here because of the amount of privileges that we get. It really is just a different level in terms of the thinking, the way they execute plans as well. And I think people understand that every decision that's made is for the better.
Now, I'm predominantly based in Hong Kong. Now, I often have Chinese companies asking me, Derek, we'd love to look at Dubai. What do you think we should do? Use it as a base for Saudi, Abu Dhabi, da-da-da-da-da. If you had to give organizations from anywhere in the world, wanting to come to Dubai, what is it that makes the city great for a company to enter here and do business?
I think it's such a flexible regime. So whether it be that it's construction companies or private equity, there are always the right boxes within Dubai, effectively. I think it's such a welcoming city, and there is so much opportunity here as well. So one of the key aspects that now Dubai is continuing to innovate is on the manufacturing side as well. So no longer to be considered as more of a trading hub or on the banking system, to have extra kind of verticals. So I think bringing manufacturing into play as well will give a new cutting edge for Dubai as well.
And how do you feel about, I see Saudi Arabia is reforming a lot now, and I'm actually very impressed with what they're doing over there too, Again, you go to the Western media and they'll say bad things, and I wrote something positive about Saudi Arabia on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and someone wrote about, what about the human rights? It's like countries are progressing, and I look at Saudi Arabia and I look at the region, the Middle East. Apparently, there's 3.5 trillion US dollars in dry powder to invest. There's no other region in the world that has that. 100%, yeah. So I say to people, I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio, right? And he says, when you're making investment decisions or business decisions, you want to avoid any areas where there's a potential for war, right? When I look around the world right now, the Middle East is probably the least place there's going to be a war. It's been through it all. It's going to be the safest place for growth with all this cash being injected. I personally think the Middle East is going to be probably the highest growth area in the world to do business. Now, what drawbacks do you see, or what mistakes do you see companies coming in to do business in Dubai and they don't make it, for example? Because you'd see it, right? You have the ones who become highly successful. I have my friend Paul. He only came here, I think he spent just 10 years here. He sold his company for 50 million US dollars. And, he made a lot of money. He did very well for himself, And when he found out I was coming here quite a lot, he said, Derek, if you stay away from the bright lights, he said, and, of course, have a good time every now and again, but if you stay focused, he said, you'll make an awful lot of money in Dubai. Where do you see people going wrong here? Because obviously you have the bright lights of Dubai.
Yes.
I've seen it kind of suck many people down a dark hole, actually, similar to Hong Kong many years ago. What's the pitfalls on a more professional basis, and then also on a personal basis, what you would tell people to avoid?
I think it's similar to any part of the world when you're setting up a new business or new holding structures, for argument's sake, is just to do your due diligence properly. Planning, you cannot overplan. It's always best to have the what if scenarios in place and kind of mitigate against them. So I think that's the most important thing. So again, Dubai is quite different to some of the other cities across the world, but it's important to just get a good firm grip as to all the different kind of aspects you need to plan for in advance.
Okay, so you're a man with a family in Dubai, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of misconceptions about Dubai in the world, just like there's misconceptions about China, and there's always been misconceptions about the Middle East, especially in the Western world, and like people who say, oh, you can't hold hands in Dubai, go to prison, all this nonsense, right? It's such a great place. But tell me, what do you think, from what you've seen here, what are the key traits you see in people coming to this city who actually make it?
So I think the key when you're moving to Dubai is being an expat. I find everybody makes effort. You really want to feel comfortable. Everybody's effectively in the same boat. And I feel the more you put in, the more you get out. So I find people are a lot more flexible, a lot more welcoming, open to have conversations. And that reflects in the business environment as well. So you really have to kind of be open-minded. And you never know who you're going to meet in any given situation. So even for argument's sake, with my children's school, that's effectively how I knew of Capital Club in the very first stage 9 years ago. So again, you never know who you're going to meet and what the purpose may be. And sometimes when you look back and you reflect, it is really mind-blowing.
This club, I can say, is a very special place, actually. When I came back the other day, I gave all the staff a big hug, It's a very welcoming, lovely people. It's an amazing club. Somebody mentioned another club to me yesterday. I won't mention the name of it. I said, forget about them. There's only one club in Dubai, and that's the Capital Club, Funnily enough, actually, my first day sitting here in the Capital Club, a guy sat down beside me, and I thought he was a French footballer. Turns out he was the singer Akon. And he's sitting down there with his buddies having a drink. I don't think he was having a drink, but he's sitting down there with his buddies, and then I think, I'm not sure, but I heard maybe it was like one of the royal family from Senegal was hanging out with him, and then I think the founder of Netflix or something like that, And it's insane, like nobody bothered him, I thought he was a French footballer. I was going, I know that guy's face from somewhere, And the club obviously has some very famous people who are members of it too. But just let me backtrack a little bit here to lifestyle, because I want people to get it right. What makes Dubai a great place to live?
I think the safety, you cannot put a price on safety.
Yeah.
So it's very comforting to know that if your wife is walking around late at night, she'll never have any issues. Also for children, it really is such a safe environment, and that allows for you to focus on achieving your objectives and goals. So it gives you a lot of peace of mind. And for families, there's just so much to do. And then also, if you want to break away, you can go to Ras Al Khaimah or Abu Dhabi. There's so many different places, theme parks, cinemas. It really has the best of the best. And it keeps on developing more and more and more. So I think it's just a great place where you can focus on your work. Children can be very well educated. A lot of British schools, international kind of curriculums. So it kind of gives you the perfect kind of environment in many ways. And then you can have that balance in terms of work, life, focus time, and then also to actually enjoy the country as a whole.
So Dubai is it's like many different little countries in one, you know what I mean? It's so different from each part to another. If you want to have the family lifestyle, you can have the family lifestyle and you can live out in a nice villa if that's what you want. If you want to be a young expat and you want to be going out every night and going to the beach bars or whatever and stuff like that, you can live that life too,
Exactly. I think it caters for all different kind of brackets, different age groups, different nationalities. So it is just very, very vibrant here. It's such a remarkable city. I'll never forget one day I was actually in Nobu with my wife and children. We're having lunch, and then suddenly the whole mood just changed. And then we looked up and we noticed His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. He entered the building, and we were a little bit nervous, like, wow, he's actually so close to us.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, he's so welcoming, so friendly, and he waved to my son, and I just thought, this is a priceless moment I'll never forget.
Well, I was going to say that he's obviously a visionary. He's a lot of vision. Again, I had this conversation yesterday with a driver. The vision of Dubai, they've stuck to it through thick and thin, even when 2008 happened. Now, what happens sometimes when you have such a strong visionary? Let's take Apple as an example, right? You can plan succession plan, and then you had Tim Cook come on, who I think has trebled the value of Apple since Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, you can say, is one of a kind, right?
Yeah.
You would have thought irreplaceable, like Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, which has turned out to be irreplaceable, by the way. However, I do follow a lot of the government ministers in the UAE on LinkedIn and so on and so forth, and they all seem to sing the same hymn. They all seem to be talking ambition, bigger, better, improve people's lives,
It's very inspirational. Yeah. And I think it really does come from top down. So even a lot of the ministries, they're so much forward thinking. They're planning not for today, tomorrow, but decades ahead. And I think this is beautiful to see how the city keeps on developing the environment. They're very much focused in terms of kind of ticking all the boxes in terms of future growth, future potential, to effectively become a major kind of epicenter across the world.
Yeah, I just saw that new building that's being announced where the floor rotates 360 degrees,
They make the impossible possible.
It's like they make the impossible possible, And in CGP Group, actually, one of our main objectives is to help Chinese companies come here. And that's what we're in the process of doing now. And I had a meeting with some officials from the Chinese government just a few months ago, and we were talking and stuff. And I said, I was talking so highly of Dubai.
Yes.
I said, Dubai is a great place. You got to check it out, And then he said to me, well, can I join you on a trip over there, and you can bring me around different companies, and we can see what they're doing over there, and so on and so forth. And obviously they would maybe want to do business in China, and Chinese businesses will want to come to the UAE. Do you see an influx of Chinese businesses in particular here, or do you think there's a bit of a gap between, because the culture is very different, right? So you need to have an intermediary to plug the gap. Do you notice anything?
I think it's definitely started.
Yeah.
We've started to see more of the Far Eastern community who have moved across to Dubai, and I think it will only continue to grow and grow, as we're seeing from all different parts of the world. So a lot of people are still moving from Germany, from the UK, different parts of Europe, even the US, because of the level of flexibility here. I think the key in Dubai is if you have a vision and you also have the work ethic to actually implement, then the sky's the limit here. I mean, we've got so many incredible success stories, and even we see within the clubs, even like the Thumbe group, how they started from very humble beginnings to now build such a big conglomerate. Then also with Danube, with Adil and Rizwan Sarjan, how they've managed to achieve their objectives. And it's all for the benefit of the people as well. I think it's something where it really does give you hope that if you put in the hours and you make the effort, the more you invest in yourself and put yourself in the right circles, then it can really reap considerable rewards.
And one thing I've observed in Dubai is that if you carry the Hong Kong work ethic to Dubai with you, you'll do really well, right?
Yeah.
However, Dubai is just so nice. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so nice and it's so beautiful, and it's just such an amazingly beautiful place, you know, and it's just such a great city, right, to live. Do you notice that some people come here and maybe they take the foot off the gas?
I guess there could be cases, but I think with such a level of beauty and opulence like you see in Dubai, that, I'm speaking from my own experience, that pushes you even harder, because you want to go to the best of the best hotels, you want to eat in the best restaurants. It kind of gives you that push and determination and drive every day to just not take your foot off the gas. And I think it's also very important to surround yourself around like-minded people.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Yeah, well, you're very good at that, Dave. You've connected me with a lot of people. I was with Dave yesterday evening, and I just explained to him. I said, "Hey, Dave, have you ever heard of this company? They've been my biggest client for many, many years." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I know the CEO for the Middle East." And he just rings the CEO for the Middle East and puts him on the phone to me. But I notice you just do that naturally. Have you always, does it just come naturally to you? Like, kind of, do you look at this as a job, or is it just do you really enjoy it? Is that why you do it?
Every day is challenging in different ways, but it's like a constant learning curve. I'm always learning from each and every member about different industries, whatever their challenges are. And then it's always nice to see an acceleration of their growth, how their businesses evolve. And it's nice to kind of be part of that process in a way, because we have so many formidable members within the club. And it's nice to bring people together.
Have you seen many people arrive here like with basically nothing, just, you know, start from scratch and, you know, have a meteoric rise?
Yeah, I think there are many, many cases. It's every day in Dubai, there are opportunities at hand. And I think it's definitely the city where you're finding a lot of people immediately after graduation choosing Dubai right now, because they can see it's very good in terms of their career path, investing time to actually make things happen. But, you know, whereas they probably see roadblocks in other parts of the world, they can see that, okay, Dubai is constantly evolving, constantly moving, and there's so much opportunity here. Another key thing I find with Dubai is, you know, there's such a major focus on respect and tolerance together. So everybody, like my children, they study Arabic at school, and it's incredible for them to have that level of understanding from such a young age. To be able to learn Arabic is a great skill to have, especially with the way the Middle East is evolving.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. And then I see the relationship between China and the Middle East. Of Xi Jinping has been out to meet the ruler of Saudi Arabia, and they're putting a big interest in the Middle East in particular. There's been a peace deal brokered between Iran and Saudi. You know, it just seems to me like this is the place to be if you want to do business. You know, everything's just coming together at the right time. You know what I mean?
You know, if I was to describe in one word, I would say the environment, the culture here is just electric. I think so. We've been here for 9 years now. I've never seen the business environment the way it is right now. So it's very exciting. Everybody can feel that it's like there's a buzz in the air.
Yeah.
It's nice to be living in a city like that.
No, I definitely get it. But one thing that really strikes me about Dubai is that there's no locals versus expats.
No, it's a very fluid environment. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's together, yeah.
This is it, because everybody sees Dubai as home.
Yeah.
When they've moved from, like, I'm originally from the UK, but I consider Dubai to be home because we just love the culture, we love the environment, we love the fact that people actually celebrate success here. Yeah. You know, in other parts of the world, the more successful you are, then often leads to jealousy or envy. I think people here, if they see a Rolls Royce, they see a Ferrari, they see that as a little bit of extra ambition to push that extra mile.
Well, they say there's a gentleman called Michael O'Leary. He's the CEO of a very famous airline in Europe called Ryanair, you know. And I was reading a book about him many years ago, and they gave a very good analogy. They said, because Americans have been known in the past for being very ambitious as well, by the way, and they celebrate success, right? Yeah. They said an American sees a big house and they think, my God, one day I'm going to be just like that guy. And in this book I was reading, it said, an Irish guy sees that house, go, one day I'm going to get that. So in Dubai, yeah, I get the feeling like everyone, you become successful here, people actually congratulate you.
100%, because I think everybody here, especially as an expat, you understand that it comes with, okay, luck is also very important, but hard work is critical.
And tell me
Nothing happens overnight.
Tell me about the Capital Club here, because I believe that the best thing that happened to me when I arrived in Dubai was I came down here to meet Tim Haywood for coffee. Yes. And I met you, right? And I just felt home then in Dubai. This place has been, it's basically been like my second home. It's just an amazing place, and all that. Your team here, it really is an unbelievable place. It's a very unique atmosphere here. I don't know how the Capital Club has managed to develop this, because I run companies, right? And that must be very hard to do.
I think a lot of it's come from the leadership, from our chairman, Hussein Sultan Al Junaidi. He's really a visionary in terms of the success, the way he's pushed boundaries for the evolution of Dubai. It's incredible. I feel that there's just so much kind of bonding in terms of all of our team here within the club and the members. And then it's nice that we have a combination of the business events, the social events, to kind of informally network, meet other members. It just becomes, you know, like an extension of your family in many ways.
It's an unbelievable place, and why would somebody want to say, apart from what I've just said there, how would you summarise or encapsulate the Capital Club? Because I'm a member of other private member clubs in Hong Kong, which are great, by the way. They're very, very nice, you know what I mean? The Capital Club is a very different feel, man. You know, like in the private members clubs in the other countries, like you can't even look at your phone. There's lots of rules and regulations. Again, it's nice, you know. How would you encapsulate the Capital Club? And for people coming to Dubai, I would certainly recommend joining the Capital Club, even if you don't live here. Like I'm not here full time. I straight away that day, do you remember? I was like, hey, I want to become a member. Yeah. You know, like just immediately, right? And then I didn't come back for a year because I got sick. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, this place is... And then when I came back a year later, the team members downstairs, oh, Mr. Kenny, how are you? How's it going? We've missed you. You know, it was so nice and so welcoming.
It is such a unique environment. I feel like, you know, it really is a place of privacy, which is very important in a place like Dubai, to know that you can have your confidential discussions and that it's just kept within those confines. That's very important. And I think, again, Dubai being such a forward-thinking, adaptable city, business is critical, and we are very much a business-driven club. So a lot of our members, they're top C-suite and above. We have a lot of the ambassadors, consul generals, owners of major conglomerates. So it's just a comfortable setting where they can conduct their day-to-day business and then combine with social as well.
I can say for me, a huge reason I want to come to Dubai is because of the Capital Club. You know, it feels like family to me, you know, and it's an amazing place, you know. And then Dave, where can people reach you, by the way? LinkedIn or do you have your own website now, by the way? Did I see a website called the Connector Dubai or something?
LinkedIn is the easiest. way, but I'm often sitting on the 5th floor, so I try to be as accessible as possible for all the members. Again, it's nice when things come together in terms of certain members being in the club at the same time, and it just takes a simple introduction for them to then start talking in terms of opportunities.
Great. And before we finish off, you've done very well for yourself since coming to Dubai, right? I know you're a humble guy and stuff like that. You probably don't want to say that, but what you do is not an easy job. Like, I'm a headhunter by trade, right? It's quite similar. I love connecting people too, and it's tough sometimes, just to finish things off, right? What advice would you give to aspiring, I was going to say young people, don't even have to be young. I've seen people come here divorced, starting life again, and making a success of themselves. I've seen people who haven't worked out in other countries, they messed up. They've come out here, they've straightened themselves out, and they've made a success of themselves. It seems to be the city of second chances as well for a lot of people too, city of opportunity. What do you think are the secrets to success in the city of gold?
It's very important to be persistent. If you have your goal, you have your ambition, it's very important to just not let that 1 or 2 days kind of drag you away from reaching that goal. So it's just every day, take it as a fresh opportunity and just try and make every hour count. I think it's very important to have a plan, have a vision, but then execution is so important. And that only comes with putting that time, investing in yourself, surrounding yourself with the right types of people, whether it be within golf courses or villa communities or, for argument's sake, Capital Club. It's very important. And then things will organically come somehow or the other, as long as you maintain that persistence.
So I think it's very, very important what you said there, and you hit the nail on the head. You want to surround yourself with the right people,
Oh, exactly. I think it's so important, because again, it's very easy to get sidetracked. But at the same time, if you surround yourself with the right type of people, they've got similar values. They're very aspirational. If ever you're in that moment where you're a little bit jaded, then everybody can kind of help support one another. It's very important.
Yeah, it's good. And I think that summarizes the Capital Club. So if you ever feeling a bit down, get yourself down to the Capital Club and go up and see Dave. So David, thank you so much for sharing your secrets to success in the city of gold. I think that today we've been able to dispel a lot of the myths that fly around the world about Dubai. 'Cause there's still a lot of people don't know exactly all about Dubai. So I wanted today to describe Dubai in all honesty. Everything we've said here, by the way, we're not paid by people to do this. There's no reasoning for it. I wanted to interview Dave because I wanted people to understand around the world, what is Dubai really like? Why is the Capital Club great? How has Dave been able to make it where he's been able to make it? And I think this show gives everyone a very great insight into Dubai as a whole. And please connect with Dave on LinkedIn. I will put it in the link on the podcast, and then I don't know if you have that connector website or not, but if you do have that connector website, I will put that there too. But thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it. Thank you.